Hello everyone, my name is Clint, otherwise known as Mr. Clintastik, here with a Theros Beyond Death spoiler video. If you enjoy my content, please be sure to like and subscribe to help my channel grow in the future. Let's begin our turn. First up is Elspeth, Sun's Nemesis. 2 white, 2 generic, legendary planeswalker. It has 3 abilities, -1 up to 2 target creatures you control each get +2, +1 until end of turn. -2, create 2 1/1 white human soldier creature tokens, or -3, you gain 5 life. It also has the ability Escape. 2 white, 4 generic. Exile 4 other cards from your graveyard. You may cast this card from your graveyard for its escape cost. So for me, immediately I think mono white tokens. I'm like, mono white has Benalius Marshall. It has Venerated Loxodon with Convoke. My idea is you play your 1 drop, your 2 drop, your 3 drop, but Benalius Marshall. You might even Convoke up the next turn to put counters on those things, and then you drop your Elspeth to do whatever you want. I mean, you could honestly wait. You could play your 1 drop, 2 drop, 3 drop, maybe play your Loxodon Restore, and if you don't, you get your Elspeth out, you make 2 tokens, and you can Convoke that way. Another strategy I think of is white green tokens, where you're just putting out a bunch of tokens really quick. Elspeth able to pump 2 target creatures. Granted, it's not instant speed, which oftentimes when you want to pump your creatures, you want it to be instant speed. But just to be able to do this over and over again has a lot of value to it. Or just create, the 2 tokens to be able to convoke, maybe like with March of Multitudes or something like that. Still running like Venerated Loxodon, maybe even running Benalius Marshall, but maybe leaving it out because it is 3 white. But still, I can see where Elspeth is already kind of sliding its way and strengthening a couple decks that's kind of fallen behind in the past few months in light of other cards and other deck strategies. Also, white black, like maybe like white black knights could use this. White black knights have a lot of really solid knights out right now, and if you just pump those up really aggressively, that could be very devastating to the opponent. Also, those decks can, kind of run like sacrifice spells or things of that nature. Um, I don't know. I just feel like Elspeth kind of slides into that, or maybe like the Doom for Toe deck, where you want creature production. It produces 2 different creatures, so you can, have something to sack off. I think Doom for Toe you can sack off the tokens. I might be wrong. I don't know. I had to double check. But I could see it going in the Doom for Toe deck. I can see it pairing up with Liliana. I can see it pairing up with the other card we're going to be talking about today later on in the video. Um, and the escape value, I think, is just solid all around. You play it in any of your decks on turn 4, they remove it. You bring it back on turn 6, and if you're playing against an aggressive strategy, you can always neg 3 for that 5 life. So overall, I think Elspeth will see some play, but I do believe it depends on what cards come out with Elspeth and where the metagame wants to lean. All right, moving on to Ashiok Nightmare's Muse. It is a 5-drop, a blue-black, 3 generic legendary planeswalker. It has 3 abilities. +1, create a 2/3 blue and black nightmare creature token with, whenever this creature attacks or blocks, each opponent exiles the top 2 cards of their library. It has a -3 of return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand, then that player exiles a card from their hand. It has a -7 of you may cast up to 3 face-up cards your opponents own from exile without paying their mana cost. Immediately this screams to me potentially a mill deck. And I'm talking a mill deck that has an alternative win con built in of creatures. Actually, if your opponents have nothing to play and you're producing creatures with this +1, milling them essentially by exiling the top two cards of their library. I mean, there's so many good cards that this pairs with, like um, the Secret Keeper card, 0/4, that mills your opponent for 4. The one drop that scries you 2, and no, scries you. Yeah, it might scry you 2 and mills them for 2, or it might scry you 1. I think it scries you for 1, mills them for 2. And there's all sorts of other cheap mill cards that this could go with. There's also like Disinformation Campaign. You draw a card, your opponent's discard a card. There's always like early game hand disruption with like duress and things. There's 4-drop Jace that curves right into this Ashiok. I just feel like there's a lot of pieces that can bring this blue black mill strategy together. And then if you need to finish it off with creature production, because that's a +1 right there. You can also, bounce a spell to their hand, and if they have nothing in hand, they exile. Like, I feel like there's going to be a lot of control-y things that control players are going to eat up right now. And they're going to also have access to creatures, which the mill strategy may have been missing prior. So, oh yeah, and the -7, if you're, oh my gosh, that's insane. You exile some of their best things, and then late game you play them. Goodness. Once again, I feel like people are going to at least try to bring this together. I don't know if it's going to see like top tier, level, like tier 1 metagame type stuff. But I would try, and I will try. Moving on to our last card, Athreos, Shroud Veil. A 6 mana, 1 white, 1 black, 4 generic, legendary enchantment creature. It's a god. It is indestructible, and as long as your devotion to white and black is less than 7, Athreos isn't a creature. At the beginning of your end step, put a coin counter on another target creature. Whenever a creature with a coin counter on it dies or is put into exile, return that card to the battlefield under your control. It's a 4/7. Now, there's a lot to say about this card, especially to those that might be new to Magic, because there's a lot of text to take in. First off, it's an enchantment creature. When it talks about devotion is referring to the colors in the top right hand corner in regards to the mana cost. For instance, even though this is a mana cost of 6, 4 of those are generic, meaning they're colorless. The white black, that's the devotion. So this has a devotion cost of 2. As long as your devotion is less than 7, this isn't a creature. So it's not you can't target it with any kind of removal spells. I mean, at all, I don't think it's targeted by anything, because even though it's an enchantment creature, I don't know if enchantment destruction would do it. No, because it's indestructible. So once you hit this, it's stuck to the board as long as, it's really just stuck to the board, bottom line. At the beginning of your end step, put a coin counter on another target creature. Whenever a creature with a coin counter on it dies or is put into exile, return that card to the battlefield under your control. This is beautiful. This is beautiful. You play it, you pass your turn, you put a counter on their thing. Hopefully you're in control of the game. The next turn you just blow up whatever they have and you get it. I know it sounds like a lot of wheel spinning, but as I was talking about earlier with Elspeth, I think this with Elspeth and maybe like Doom Foretold, Liliana, just neat little tricks with white black. I don't know if it should be primarily creature based, primarily planeswalker based, or primarily enchantment based. I really don't know. I know I would like to have Liliana and Elspeth in the deck with Athreos, but I don't know exactly how I want to go about it. So I'm going to be looking into that more over the next few weeks, and maybe try to put some deck lists together with these few cards, because I'm excited about Theros Beyond Death. These are looking amazing. I mean, look at these lands. Beautiful. Some people don't like the lands. I think they're cool. I think they're awesome. I'm going to try to play them on Arena. You know it. But yeah, all three of those cards are great. I'm not sure if they're gonna be once again top tier, but they all have potential, and that's what I love to see with my mythic spells, especially. I want them to have potential to be played in top tier decks. So once again, if you enjoy my content, please be sure to like and subscribe to help my channel grow in the future. Share with your friends, let them know, and I will end my turn.